Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the show. This is the EU Challenger Series Season 9. I am Rapid, with me is Pulse. We're going into the last game of the day. It's Eternity taking on GamingGear.eu, the regional CIS champions, and going to see if they can bring it back. It's tied at 1-1. It's the best of 3, and going into the last game, we saw some very interesting adjustments to the champion choices, Pulse. How do you feel about this lineup?
Yes, indeed, and most of us coming in from Eternity, who in fact did a very good job in the second game with Lee Sin, obviously on Spence Garrett. In the first game as well, just didn't quite pan out because of those counterplays coming in from Gaming Gear. But this time around, they didn't opt for the Lee Sin, in fact giving it away to Lunia to see if he can live up to Spence Garrett and see what he's laid down and see if Lunia can match that. But yeah, we've got some very interesting picks coming in from Eternity. We've got Kuja straight on that Nunu, and we theory crafted a little bit about it in the Champion Select Rapid. We were saying, well, he's had some nerfs basically to that role, meaning that, you know, the Caitlyn and Nunu lane isn't as strong as it used to be, but we'll see if they can still dominate that lane in the bot one. And also with the Jarvan in the jungle as well, see if Spence Garen can replicate his previous successes as Lee Sin.
Alright, well, Svenskeren on one of his strongest jungles, and earlier on in the first best of 3 of the day, we actually saw, I was shook for the Copenhagen Wolves get given his own Lee Sin, and it was just like, it was the most horrible decision that the old bench gaming roster could have possibly made. They're just like, hey, we're going to do this because it's fun, and it actually wasn't fun at all. So overall, that is going to mean that we do have Svenskeren on a very strong champion. His Evelyn keeps getting banned, but to be honest, I think adding Lee Sin to that ban would actually be a pretty good option as well. We are going to see, though, Spontex in the top lane, though, going up against NBS. He's running Diana, and as a traditional mid laner, I mean, she does still work up in that top lane, but I forget who it was earlier on. I think it was Psycho Sid, the top laner for Vulcan, that just said, you know what, not actually as strong as a lot of other top laners, but it's actually working out pretty well. We do look for the first gank of the game coming in from Elunir.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we expect for a champion like Lee Sin, and he needs to get those ganks on just to make sure his team scales well, and we'll see how Spontex reacts to this gank. As you said, Diana doesn't shape up too well against the rest of the top laners, but MBS will just come in immediately with the Shadow Dash, and Elunir following up with the Resonating Strike as well. Ignite comes down, one more auto attack will finish the deal.
Oh, the shield
will be
cooldown! Just in time. Oh my goodness, Spontex. You can definitely tell that Shen actually backed out without getting off one more auto attack because he thought the dagger, the Vorpal Strike, was going to be able to finish it off. Not so, as now we do actually see the lanes shaping up pretty interestingly. We talked about the mid versus top and the top and bottom lanes, but dual lane mid actually working out pretty decently.
Yeah, at the moment, Inspiro making some pretty nice plays, just dragging Kuja back into his tower, making sure he gets some of those hits down. And both of these lanes did opt for the mid lane swap up, so obviously you could see that Caitlyn was trying to push down that middle turret as fast as possible. I mean, by having that Nunu, that's what you're expecting to happen. And then on the flip side, it's like, well, you know what, we're just going to put the bot lane in the mid lane too, and stymie that push coming in from Heydao and his support of Kuja. So there's what to go down, and by having both of those supports in mid lane, means there's a lot of presence in terms of vision and overall control in this middle area, which is very interesting, because obviously most of it's down at the bot lane, because you have that duo lane there so you can aggress onto that Drake when the time arises.
Alright, now in the game number 2, one of the things that actually really helped out Eternity was that they really accelerated the game a lot faster than the guys from GamingGear.eu could actually deal with. So they're not actually trying that same strategy, they're just going with a very different laning phase so that they could pressure down this middle turret as fast as they possibly can, and then maybe snowball some of that map control into advantages in other lanes. And as is, I mean, Deadly Brothers doing a pretty decent job at, farming the lane out, but with Elunir here, you can definitely tell that they don't want this lane getting pushed in this quickly.
Yeah, for sure, and Lisa just backing up, see if they can do their best to stymie this push once again, but honestly, Inspiro and Deadly Brother doing a pretty good job in their own right. Taking a look down the bot lane, because it's kind of a conventional mid lane down in the bot lane. Mazarin pops down the circle of thrust, immediately with the glacial path as well, getting himself out of dodge, but Kennen just exerting his lane presence already. Has actually opted for the cloth armor, because he assumed he was going to be against that Shen, and even so, still winning out in that bottom lane.
Gonna get some help here from Spencer. It's a 2v1 right now, and now maybe a 2v2 as Alunier really reading the motions there from oh my goodness, are they gonna go for the dive? Spencer is positioning very aggressively, now sort of like proxying this wave in between the turret. Lunar actually missing his sonic wave, no resonating strike to follow, and they're proxying waves, Muppo and Spencer, and down between the lanes. I mean, it's you know, cool and everything, but they are gonna have to capitalize on this and have to make sure that they aren't you know, vulnerable, because if they draw any pressure towards that bottom lane, that's going to take pressure off of that mid lane and really allow Kuja and Heidel to get some pressure onto that turret. Inspiro, though, taking now below half HP, so he's going to have to be careful.
Yeah, Inspiro lands a nice death sentence, but didn't want to follow up on it, knowing that Jarvan could be around the corner, which he is indeed. Sven's Garen may be looking for this middle dive to happen, didn't happen on the bot lane. At the same time, though, Inspiro very difficult to dive because he will have that Flayed Disruption and also the death sentence, so we'll see how this turns out for them. But Spencer Garen actually just going to offer his assistance in terms of pushing, and here's the dive we were looking for. Flake comes and also the Dark Passage comes down just for the shielding, allowing Deadly Brother just to put out some damage onto Spencer Garen and taking out these minions as well. So that push has been quelled, and we'll see if they carry on this push in mid lane. Sandra coming up to offer some assistance.
It's interesting to see the way that these lanes are starting to work out, because you'll notice that with that duo lane in the mid, it's all about pushing down the turret for X Eternity. But GamingGear, you know that, and it's going to be up to them to not only react to that strategy, but also try to counter it out. Now, with that ward dying, you're going to see a very strong presence here going around for the blue buff. Not quite in time. Mazarin will walk away with the buff.
Yeah, Mazarin actually pulling it out just so they couldn't be in that smiting range. Elmuppo really looking to be very aggressive indeed. Mazarin has to hit that level 6 as well, so Frozen Tomb is a great counter to that Slicing Maelstrom, because obviously the Frozen Tomb goes down, he could just walk away, not get stunned, and the damage potential is immediately stopped from Kennen. Spontex comes in with MBS low in hot pursuit with that Shadow Dash. Spontex trying his best to get out of here. He does have that Pale Cascade up in about 2 seconds, but immediately the ward jumps straight into Dragon's Rage. Deadly Brother now comes into contention, as Spontex with great mechanics jumping with the Lunar Rush. The middle lane of Kudra and Mikhail also coming in, looking to maybe bring some kills against Garen. The great mobility comes in with the Flag and Drag, and First Blood comes in with the Cataclysm. The dunks come down, the flash over the Cataclysm wall as well. Lunar keeps himself safe just for the meanwhile. Inspiro still on the back foot. His headshot comes down, but they're not really looking for this dive. And 1-for-1 trade, but First Blood goes to GamingGear.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the steal on the Big Wraith. Gotta give some credit over there, Deadly Brother. We'll take that one away. But after all that, Spontex, that's the second time this game that he's just managed to survive with barely the last little bit of HP. Pale Cascade coming up very huge once again. And really putting out so much damage onto Spontex meant that there wasn't a lot of... a Lunar, please? He's just kind of walked right into Spencer and Heidel, running up through the jungle until suddenly... the entire enemy team in your jungle, probably not quite what he was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to make the great escape onto the Golems and realised, actually, I might have farmed those earlier, and that was actually lent to his ultimate demise. I said that First Blood was drawn by GamingGear. I was actually wrong in that, and it was indeed X Eternity, so making a previous correction on that one. But Nune will be dropped, and that's not the start he wants, because from previous games we've seen Lee Sin gets the right start, and then his team snowballs around him, but if it goes the opposite way, then they won't have that presence in the mid or late game. We'll see what the rest of the team can do about it, but so far with Kennen being 70 farm to 42 on Lissandra, 75 farm on Diana to 53 on Shen, significant gold lead already going to Eternity.
Alright, yeah, the big deal right now for Eternity is that, you know, it's not mission accomplished. Like, they haven't taken down that middle turret, that's what they're looking to do, but they have switched back up the lanes. Blue buff onto both mid laners, but they are up top, and that will leave Kennen versus Shen in the bottom lane, with the Lunar coming in for a gank.
Yes, indeed. He's looking for it to happen because his lane ganks are pretty significant. If he gets that NBS low with the safeguard, channeling straight in through to that Sonic Wave. Doesn't quite turn out, and will be backing off. In fact, I say backing up, he's moving into that brush. Elmuppo will see him. Flash comes down as well from NBS. In fact, the lane opponent of Elmuppo, and that will be a flash up for MBS. So, might be stomping out some more aggression in this bot lane. And for now, Alune will just back on off.
Yeah, it just looks like Muppo's going to stop MBS, gets the stun down, not going to go in for too much aggression, has his ultimate available, but yeah, Shadow Dash out would have been pretty pretty good counter there for NBS, so not really going to go for anything too crazy, but once again, Muffo shoving him out of lane and knows exactly when to go aggressive. But that middle turret is the first turret to go down, does go over to Eternity, and that is mission accomplished. You're going to be seeing pretty much the same thing. They're rotating for the blue buff and or dragon. They're going to wait for the check. They're going to get in onto there. Jump goes down by Svenskred, gets the ult out, forces the flash away from Ezreal, and Spiro goes down. Ultimate out, but Kuja picks up the kill.
Yeah, 1 for 0, and this would 100% secure the Drake if they choose to go for it. Bottom tower goes down as well. Momentum plays all over the place, but now Diana from the smite. And Spontex looks to pick up this kill, flash over the wall, looking to get that Moonsilver Blade proc. Instead, he gets the Crescent Strike right on the tip. Perfect play from Spontex, but MBS right over the wall, looking to trade it off with him. Lee Sin looking to seal the deal as well, along with the Safeguard. Lands a Sonic Wave and it's like, well, I'm going to take this one because I need to scale ahead. Drake goes down, bottom tower out as well. This is massive momentum play. 5k lead already to Eternity.
And I mean, it was kind of interesting to see Spontex go for that dive. If he had like mismicroed that, if he didn't have the mechanics to get that like last Crescent Strike down to pick up the kill, that would have just been a death in between the turrets. We already saw Spontex have some issues with that in the last game on his Jarvan mid. This time around, even if he had just gotten taken out, that would have still been a free dragon for the team, more global objective gold in their pocket. And as this, they were able to trade 1 for 1. So 2 turrets, a 2-kill advantage. I gotta say, very impressive play here. I'm really liking what I'm seeing, even though it's not the smoothest game, still exactly what Eternity need for, like you said, that 5k gold lead.
Yeah, for sure, and we'll see if they can convert this into another tower at top lane, only extending their lead so far in terms of gold, and also map presence, and then if they can pick up another turret in the form of an inner turret, and that will be absolutely perfect, because that opens up way more turrets and more map control, and it's just a vicious circle where they constantly push, and it's all about GamingGear making that counterplay upsetting the momentum, and we know that GamingGear can do it. We've seen it time and time again, and we're really looking to Mazrin to maybe make that happen at 70 farm compared to the rest of the team. Hold that thought for a second because MBS has temporarily been caught out by Svenskeren, but Muffo not able to supply the stunning and the lockdown that they really need to secure that kill.
Alright, the big thing to watch out for in this next engagement is going to be probably Mazrin. For GamingGear.eu, they want to go for this pushing, and here's their primary form of wave clear. So in order to counter out the pushing that Eternity is doing, you're going to need that wave clear, and to actually push in and start to try to take these objectives, same basic principle does apply. As there's a lot of pressure up there towards the top lane, Duo and Jungler rotating up towards Spontex. Going to take some damage there by Illuminir, can't quite get to the other side for a kick back into the team. So overall, I'm not really seeing what GamingGear.eu is trying to accomplish right now. They do have Shen split pushing, that's pretty cool, but really haven't like stopped pushing, haven't started to take objectives of their own. Just really kind of on the back foot.
Yeah, for them it's about stopping the bleeding, because they're hemorrhaging gold left, right and centre in the form of the ejectors and towers and also those creeps as well. Meanwhile, MVS finds himself caught by Haydar along with El Mopo, forces the flash out, and this is a 1v2 situation with Nunu heading down as well. Luna in the top jungle finds himself Svenskeren sealing away that red buff. I say that, but it looks like Lee Sin picked it up himself. And jump over the wall with that wood jump. It doesn't quite connect the Sonic Wave, and then the resonating strike, so that will force him back. And meanwhile, bot lane, this is a ticking time bomb right now for GamingGear, because they need to make something happen because bot lane has fallen. Can they stop it? It's a 3-man push versus Shen, and no one's reacting to it.
Yeah, if you look at the duo lane there, Deadly Brother and Inspiro getting 1v2'd by Spontex allows for that power play down there in the bottom lane, taking down the secondary bottom turret. The big deal also to watch out for is that I don't know, it's pretty ballsy play there. Spirit of the Elder Lizard on Svenskeren, going for the AD damage item, running between the lanes. So looking to get some damage down onto the secondary middle turret as well. And GamingGear.eu, they're kind of starting to fall apart. They lost those 2 turrets bottom lane, lost the turret top lane. They're looking to lose this turret mid on the next wave if they don't figure out some way to stop this push. Just very aggressive play by Eternity. It's a little bit too much for GamingGear.eu to handle.
Different characters, but this does feel like a copy and paste of the second game that we witnessed, Rapids, and it doesn't look like it's going to hold up either, with the middle tower kind of being sieged in, with that Caitlyn on there as well. Strong front line, just making sure that Caitlyn can just sit there and poke away, chip away at that turret, and eventually it will fall. With the bottom and outer turret, or rather inner turret being down, that opens up the middle turret and in turn the top turret as well, with no sanctuary to really run back to apart from that inhibitor turret from GamingGear. And with the strong push coming in, they really need to make an engage happen, because they are hemorrhaging so hard. Doesn't quite land the death sentence. Luna over the side doesn't connect the Sonic Wave, but Mikkel almost just netting into it, and they are just continuing this push.
Now, keep in mind, it's not as bad for GamingGear EU, because they do have that Shen to sort of sit in that bottom lane, split push it out, and not actually, be that big a detriment, because of course he can rejoin the team fight without Stand United. But as is, we're going to see Spontex actually going in onto a Luna. Ultimate comes out from a Heidel. Luna does get the kick back off. War jumps back over the wall. He's going to be able to escape, but he's not there to stop this push. Now with Kuja and Spontex just walking around behind the turret, they are going to be the zone that the rest of Eternity need. I mean, when you're positioning over across the wall, you're just looking to get the dives in, looking to push GamingGear EU off of the turret, and they're doing a really good job of it. This next push, I can almost promise you this turret's going down.
Yeah, for sure. Spontex around the side as well, just making sure when it does eventually go down, they can maybe engage on top of it. Crescent Strike goes down and dropping Deadly Brother so low, looking for the moonfall. Doesn't quite happen. Circle Frost comes down. Box comes out as well. Inspiro drops in a heartbeat. Illumine comes in along with Mazarin popping down the Frozen Team onto himself. And Murphy looks to secure the kill. Cataclysm comes down as well. Mazarin just completely gets decimated from long range. That's a 2-for-1 trade and the middle turret. Can they convert this into more objectives? They're going to back off. They are fairly upset right now, not in the most healthy positions. But you have to say, Eternity on a complete roll right now.
Yeah, done after that, and I gotta say, very, very good decision making by them. Like I said, it wasn't like super genius mode to predict that turret was going down on the next wave. It was all about how you dealt with it, and a really great play there by Spontex, getting there, getting the assassination off, and Zonya's Hourglass, huge at mitigating that damage. You can see even Muppo makes it back to the middle lane in time to take care of that turret. And it's actually really well timed by Eternity, because they were going in for that turret, they took it down and they forced the fight, which actually kept NBS from split pushing down their own bottom turret, and like I said, allowed Muppo to make it back in time to save it. So great play, great timing here by Eternity. Like I said, once again, really accelerating this game a little bit faster than GamingGear can deal with it.
Yeah, you can see the gameplay is very, very fluid, and the fact that they do obviously have a shot caller and they are very, they just follow the calls and then they move as a unit, that's really showing through. And it's really down to GamingGear to see if they can upset the momentum. As we've said time and time again, sound like a broken record, but it's definitely true in all respects. They need to make something happen and just kind of stymie their entire pushing strategy all over the board. Top turret is still currently up, and the two-shot barrage comes down, doesn't quite steal away that blue buff, which will be picked up by Spontex. And this is kind of the beginning of the end here, you have to feel. Rapid with the two inner turrets down. That means the blue buff is always on the cards for the team of Eternity. Drake, in turn, is also going to fall. And Lee Sin picks up a turret top lane, but too little too late, you have to feel.
I do kind of feel like GamingGear EU, when they're looking to like maybe turn this around, I mean, they picked up the first turret of the game, so they're doing something, have to get back in time to defend. And really, this defense is going to be what it's all about, because as soon as you lose this base turret, as soon as you lose this inhibitor, Eternity, that's what they're all about. You saw exactly how well they were able to push that advantage. Not going in just yet, but NBS taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, Kuja popping down the absolute zero as well, and they have broken the turtle shell. Mazarin pops down the Frozen Tomb, quelling the aggression just for a second. El Muppo popped down into the rest of his team, maybe not the best of decision making, as the inhibitor will surely fall. Spontex looks to maybe take down Deadly Brother even on the spawn pad. 19 minutes into the game, another inhibitor falling, a carbon copy of the first game. Rapid just on opposite sides. I believe it was the top turret in the first game, bottom inhibitor in this one, and now Inspiro just looking to pick up the pieces.
Great dive, and the first inhibitor of the game will go to Eternity, a 6-1 in turret lead as well. These guys are definitely very good at executing their strategy. A little bit of a slower start, I felt, that kind of gave GamingGear EU the opportunity to come back, but just not quite able to follow it up. Lost their first turret, really it was all downhill from there. You're going to see a very strong push on this top lane. Muppo going to be the one doing that, because really that's about the only lane left. All outer turrets gone in that middle lane, and Pig's going on onto the upper secondary turret by X Eternity. That's really going to be their next focus. I mean, you would expect them to see them just like straight push down the middle lane, but when you take down the bottom inhibitor first, it's actually better to split push or to push down the top lane instead of the mid lane, because that means your opponents have to oscillate all the way across their base, and it's really difficult to defend both mid and or both bottom and top at the same time without splitting up, then making yourself vulnerable for an engage.
Yeah, really good points, and those bottom inhibitors are probably the most valuable because that also means they're furthest away from the Baron, so not only in that inner turret is vulnerable, then you have that Baron as well that could potentially be picked up at a moment's notice, and then you also have to deal, as you said, oscillate around your base and deal with that bottom wave coming in. We do have Lissandra along with Fresh heading on into the top lane, assisted by Ezreal, but doesn't look like they're in the mood to contest this one, and I don't think anyone can blame them in this situation.
Alright, that will be the last outer turret down for Eternity, for X Eternity, or by X Eternity. Uppo getting caught out there by the box, not going to go in there. Mazarin goes in, takes the Shen ultimate away. And be able to throw down his ultimate here in the near future. Kujo channeling the ultimate right on top of absolutely everything. Uppo, though, not able to dodge away from that True Shot barrage. Deadly Brother will pick up the kill, and that's a 2-for-1.
Yeah, and a 2-for-1 surrender vote failed coming in from GamingGear as well. Looks like there is some indecision. Actually, Shen gets completely melted by Caitlyn. Piltover coming in to seal the kill. And meanwhile, mid lane looks like they're going to take another turret and possibly another inhibitor. And this looks like another nail in the coffin.
Now this will be possibly the end of the game. I mean, once you have 2 inhibitors down, all they have to do is rotate back towards that top lane. I mean, they did lose Muppo in that, as he was sort of the first guy to get caught out. Second inhibitor goes down. We have 2 super minions in the base. Heidel actually taking up that turret, does have to make sure he stays careful, stays in the back, but with super minions DPSing the Nexus turret, taking it down below half HP, it's going to be very, very difficult for GamingGear.eu to come back.
Yeah, Exit Eternity like an avalanche right now. They will be recalling, got a bit of gold in the back pockets, generally about 1k all over the board, almost 2k from Diana, picking up a needlessly large rod, increasing her damage overall, and they, as I said, they are like an avalanche, just falling all over the map, and you have to feel the next point of contention will be over that top turret. And this is really go time for GamingGear because they need this engage to happen. They need at least something to happen on their own terms because they can't just wait until those double Nexus turret fights happen, because already they'll have those 3 inhibitors down. The super minions in turn will also be a huge threat to contend with. They just can't deal with it, and it looks like in fact Eternity just going to play it safe, pick up the Baron, knowing there's no way in hell that GamingGear can even get anywhere near the Baron, let alone steal it.
So free objectives, I mean, they haven't always been free, but after the first one fell, it was just one right after another for X Eternity. They were able to not only take down that middle turret, snowball it into a dragon, bottom turret, and then top turret to fall almost immediately afterwards. Great ward vision outside the base there for GamingGear.eu. They're going to know exactly where this aggression is coming from, but it's not like it's really a mystery. There's only 1 turret, 1 inhibitor left up in their base, and this is going to be rough to deal with. Deadly Brother taking a lot of damage. Inspiro going to shield him out there, but the flag and drag, the dunk right on top of him. Slam ban, thank you, man. Mumpo going in there at the same time. Lunar getting the back in there, tries to get the shield, kicks him back towards the fountain, but he did not quite get in there for the damage. Inspiro going to be the next to fall, last to fall. That will be a 5-for-0 exchange. X Eternity so strong, taken down game number 3.
Inspiro, I believed. I thought you could 1v5 pentakill them, didn't work out in the end. And that's the game. 2 very swift games in a row coming out from X Eternity, showing how strong they are in that early game if they're not disrupted. And that's the third and final game of the series, bringing that to a 2-1 with X Eternity facing up against GamingGear.